going to talk about how to apply it, right? What to do with your strengths. What do you do? Because when you take the strengths assessment, you don't get a whole lot of to-dos. You get a whole lot of what am I or who am I, which most of you kind of already know. What I want to do is give you to-dos, how to use it, the step-by-steps and so on. And so then by the end of this, I have one goal, is to help you get clear about what you want, know who you are, and have a personalized, customized, strategic plan to implement it in a way that you, in your heart, will know, I can do that. Okay? All right. So first off, I just need to know who I am, because I want you to know that I didn't learn this stuff that I'm going to share with you. I earned it. Okay. When Doterra brought strengths 2.5 years ago at leadership, this is how I got introduced to it. My wife said, "Hey Eddie, you're going to have to take a test." I'm like, "What test?" And they're like, I know we had just turned blue, so I'm not the example in this moment. Blue diamond is what I meant to say. Not blue in the face. Anyway, so we just turned blue diamond, and so we're all excited because we're going to sit in the blue diamond section, right? Mm-hmm. And my wife said, "Hey, you got to take a test." I'm like, "What test?" Like, "Well, they're doing like a personality testing." And I'm like, I'll tell you what I tried to do. I tried to roll my eyes all the way around. Like, I tried to see if that was possible, right? Because the truth is, like I was thinking maybe like some of you all, when you got this, like, how many of these personality tests do I have to take network marketing? So with the 3-color Enneagram, and it's like all these different things without any kind of real application. And what was really worse about these personality tests is I felt like they grouped me. Y'all would feel like that? Like they put you in the group, like you're the 1s, and you're the 4s, and you're the 7s, you're the squiggles, and blah, blah, blah. But how many of you have felt inside you don't really belong to any one specific group? Right? Like for me, I love Metallica, and I love Pavarotti. I don't know what group that is, right? That's just bizarre. So when I took the test, I did it like, look, okay, I'm a blue diamond, so I can't be the only one showing up there without taking the assessment, so I gotta take it. And if I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna take it right. I'm gonna answer the questions as honestly as I can. So I took the test, and I got my results, and I go, yep, that's me, and never looked at it again. Right? Anybody have a similar experience? Or some of you maybe looked at it and go, that's not me, and then never looked at it again. Right? When I went to leadership, they showed a bunch of things, and one of the things they described, I don't know if y'all remember, they drew a star. Does anyone remember leadership when they drew the star? One person, that's it? Cool, okay, I'll just wait. Picture a star. I don't have a drawing thing here. So picture a star, and picture the high tips of the star. Those 5 points of the star is like your strengths. It's your high points. It's where you're best at everything you do. And then those inner parts of the star are the low points. And in this case, we'll call them weaknesses. And what have we been taught ever since we were little? Got to work on those weaknesses, right? Forget about the things you're really good at, just work on the weaknesses. And what they showed was that if you spend time increasing on the weaknesses, you actually neglect your strengths. So the strengths come down. Y'all get what I'm saying? The strengths come down, the weaknesses go up, and you become mediocre at best. Okay? That's exactly how I felt. I was like, oh, I'm in. What are we talking about? So right then and there, I opened up my phone, and I went to the Gallup thing, and I opened up all 34. Because at that point, the top 5 wasn't good enough. I wanted to know everything. And then I wanted to know everything they were doing on stage. I want my 7th strength is competition. I didn't just want to know what they knew, I wanted to know more than what they knew. Because I wanted to come back on that stage and present what they're presenting, but even better. Okay? It's the way the competition strength works. I love it. And then, so after convention was over, I became, the only way to put it, obsessed. I started coaching people for free for about a year. Okay? I filled my calendar. I was using my blue diamond status to get people to work with me for free, just so that I could understand strengths. So the only requirement was they had to give me the strengths report, and we would talk about it. So I worked with easily over 1,000 people during this time. That was easy compared to what I'm going to teach you all today. Okay? The stuff I'm going to teach you, you're going to know more than what they learned in certification course in just 2 hours. I'm serious about that. I know it's kind of sad because it's like $9 grand to take that certification. Anyway. So, crazy, right? Crazy stuff. Anyway, so where was I? Oh yeah, so, but the thing that Doterra didn't know and Gallup didn't know is that I had just spent the last 2 years of my life, up to that moment, trying to dig myself out of a pit where I spent 3.5 years of my life hating myself. Okay, I'm being real with you right now. I hated who I was because right before we got introduced to Doterra, actually it was right at the same time. You know how Doterra comes in your life right when you need it? Everyone knows that, right? So totally for us, and I had just been fired twice within a 60-day period. And when that second firing happened, I chose to believe that who I was a failure. I remember the box of my face after my second firing, because I didn't have the guts to call my wife to come pick me up early. But I'm walking home, it was about 4.5 mile walk, and I just kept thinking, God, you messed up. You gave me the wrong personality. I need a do-over. I'm gonna give this one back. You need to give me the right one. This isn't working. Anyone ever feel like that? So I spent 3 years of my life after that, gave up, threw away, however you want to look at it. 3 years of my life trying to prove to God and everybody else that I wasn't enough, that I was a failure, and that I personally had no value. And you know what's funny? When you go out to prove something like that, you end up winning. Like I won. I proved to everybody I was worthless. And it wasn't until I started to realize that the problem was not all my circumstances, it was me. Right? The choices I was making to believe that I was a failure, that was putting my relationships with my wife and my kids and our business at risk. So at that point in time, we had just hit gold, and I'm like, I got to change my life. I got to change my mind about me. This is what the tool I'm going to give you that I learned during this time. I should say I learned. But so we went from gold to blue in about 2 years. And by that time, I was like, oh my gosh, this strengths thing is the map. Instead of me just spitballing, right? Just trying to figure out what I'm good at by just trying and seeing, oh, that worked. I don't know how, but it worked. Instead of spitballing, I've got a strengths assessment that shows me, right, what I can do. And since then, and by the way, while I was coaching these 1,000 people, I was not building a Doterra business. My wife was. In fact, she was like, Eddie, we got into network marketing so we would have time freedom, not so that we would be stuck in front of Zoom calls all day. Because I was coaching like 3 to 5 people a day, easily, for free, for like an hour, right? So ultimately, though, after a year of doing this, I started learning things that Gallup doesn't teach, which I'm going to teach you all. Really short amount of time, you're going to love. Of course, I got the attention of Emily Wright, which is like one of the best people to get in touch with, or get the attention of. And ultimately turned kind of like this journey to help people love who they are and figure out how to apply it. I turned it into a business, a real business that's like, it's all about a mission. Right? So this, what I'm going to share with you right now, this is just the beginning. I'm going to be teaching this for the rest of my life. There is so much to uncover and so much to learn. Today, you're only going to get inspired. You're going to love what you're going to hear today, and you're just going to want more. And it's going to be based on, because you're going to find a love for you. Okay? So I want to share with you that the side effects of knowing your strengths is not just growing a Doterra business. Marriages, relationships, especially with your frontline qualifiers, which is like a marriage in many ways, and your health, your connection with God, gosh, your belief in you, all those things are going to come with it. Is that okay? Is it all right if you take those bonuses? Okay, so I hope you all have a very thick notebook and at least 2 pens. All right? Because I'm going to teach. And when I teach, I tend to move kind of fast. So if you want me to repeat something, just say, Eddie, repeat that. No problem. I've taught this hundreds of times. In fact, the last 2.5 years, I've done nothing but teach strengths every day to at least anywhere from 5 to 20 people to 100 people, depending on how many people I can get on a call. Hello. You're right on time. Okay, we're right on time. So perfect. So here's what we're gonna do. First thing I'm gonna teach you all is we're gonna talk about what's great about strengths. Okay. Here's what I want to teach you, something that I had to read a 60-page report from Gallup to find out. This is how much I nerded out about strengths. I wanted to know how the assessment works. So I know how the questions work, so much so that I can't take the assessment again because I can come up with I can create any results I want. But in that training, in that pamphlet, I learned some numbers that I want to share with you all so you can understand something really cool about you. I want you to write on the top of your page 7.7 billion. Just write that. We're going to talk about some big numbers. 7.7 billion. Anybody know what this number represents?
World population.
Chances you get the same result as somebody else.
Not quite. More than that. But people in the world. That's right. Number of people in the world about. Right? It's about 7.7 billion. Okay? When you take the strengths assessment, it gives you your strengths from 1 through 34. Most people just take the top 5 because that's all Gallup talks about. But it's not what I talk about. So the top 5, I call it a tease. Okay? But when you take the strengths assessment, the chances of another person from 1 through 34, the chances of another person on this planet having the same top 5 as you, but in different order. Okay, this is important. Same top 5 as you, but in different order, and the order does matter, is 1 in 280,000. Okay? 1 in 280,000. The chances of another person having just the same top 5 as you, but in different order. Scrambled, right? So if we divide that into 7.7 billion, you get about the number of people that can fit into an arena. All right? So we're looking at roughly 27,500 people, okay? So that means that if everyone on the planet took the assessment, we could put you in a room, in an arena, with everybody that would have the same top 5 as you and scramble. Got it? Okay. If we took that whole room and said, all right, we're gonna break you up into a second room with just the people you have the exact same top 5 in the exact same order, okay? So the odds of that happening is 1 in 33 million. Write that down. 1 in 33 million. Okay. So the room full of 27,500 just shrunk down to about 234. About. Okay? So roughly you and about 234 other people amongst the whole planet have the same top 5. The chances of another person having the same top 6 is just under 1 in a billion. So roughly about 10. And the chances of another person having the same top 7, you're by yourself. The chance of another person being on this planet that has the same top 7 as you is actually more than 1 in 7.7 billion. You get that? Which means that with the top 7, you are different than anybody else on the planet. Just from the top 7. How many are there?
34.
34. I don't know the exact number, because that's when you get the weird numbers that most of us don't even know what those numbers are. But I can tell you this, the chances of another person having the same strengths report as you from 1 all the way through 34, in that exact order, is a whole heck of a lot more than 1 in 130 billion. It's a lot more than that. And the reason why I bring up 130 billion is because that's how many they estimate will be the number of people who have been born into this planet by the year 2050. Like the air in the room just got sucked out. Do you hear that? Your full 34 report shows that you are different than anybody that ever has been or will be born.
We said the last part again?
You're full. By 2050, there will be about 130 billion people have been born into the planet.
So I took this like 2 years ago. If I took it again today, because I don't remember how I got the things, what are the chances that I would have the same?
It could change. It could move around. So like there's a formula to it. It's a whole hour-long training I can go into, but it could move around a little bit. Okay. So I'm kind of leaving a gap in the conversation because I really want you to think about that. Does that feel true? Just trust your heart. Trust your gut on that. Does that feel true? That in some, even in a small way, you are different than anybody that's ever been or ever will be. The way I put it, and I want you to write this down. First word you're going to write is I. Right? I as in the letter I, not I-E-Y-E. I am infinitely unique and cannot be duplicated. I am infinitely unique and cannot be duplicated. What's the #1 thing to be successful in network marketing? To be duplicatable, we're going to rewrite that book. We're going to rewrite that book because this is true, right? This is true. I am infinitely unique and unduplicatable, right? Does that feel good? Just took a deep breath on that one.
Amazing.
Yeah, because we have proof. So we get to own it. Now we also get to own the fact that because I'm infinitely unique and unduplicatable, I no longer need to compare myself to anybody. Because it's now irrelevant. Comparison is now irrelevant. It is pointless. It is a waste of time. Not only is it unfair to you, but it's also unfair to them. Anytime you see someone on stage and you're saying, wow, look at them, so amazing. I could never have what they have because I could never be what they are. Bullcrap. Not true. You can be who you are and have anything you want. Whatever it is you want, if you feel called to do it, you can do it by being who you are. Okay? That's what's awesome about strengths, which in turn is actually what's awesome about you. Now, that's what I share with people whenever they go, Eddie, what's the strengths thing? And after I share that, they're online, they're getting their strengths report. It's actually funny. My wife and I were on a dinner date with 2 friends who had once taken the strengths assessment and only got the top 5, like most people. Right there at dinner, they forked over the extra 30 or 40 bucks and opened up their full 34 after I just told them those numbers. No, sadly, I've helped thousands of people upgrade, but no. So if you want to know how to get people to take the strengths assessment, tell them those numbers. Tell them what I just told you. And what happens is you can create a strengths-based culture within your life and business. Not just Doterra, but any of you parents? How many of y'all have teenagers who really use this information right now? Right? Okay. So those are the little side effect things. All right, next thing I'll teach you is called the golden rule. During my training here, you'll find moments where old programming is going to want to sneak into this little room here. I'm going to give you a thing to block it, and it's called the golden rule. So I want you to write down the golden rule word for word, okay? So I'm going to say it a bunch of times so you have time to write it down. The golden rule is this. Strengths, in this context, strengths has nothing to do with what you can't do. Okay? I have to say that because so many people will look at their strengths report and try to find proof that they can't do something. Stop, because it's not there. Strengths has nothing to do with what you can't do. That's the first part of the golden rule. Strengths has nothing to do with what you can't do. The next part is a bit of a roller coaster, so go with me. Strengths has everything to do with how you do everything your way. I'll say it again. Strengths has everything to do with how you do everything your way. ... And it works, but only 100% of the time. Strengths has everything to do with how you do everything your way. ... And it works, but only 100% of the time.
One more time.
Strengths has everything to do with how you do everything your way. ... And it works, but only 100% of the time. That's the golden rule, because what's going to happen during this, you're going to look at your strengths report while I'm teaching, and you're going to go, but I don't know, does that mean I can't do this? Does that mean I can't do this? I'm going to say, you forgot the golden rule. Somebody here is going to forget it, and I'll have to remind you, and it's totally cool. So if that happens, don't feel bad. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is the only real problem in any business or life is hesitation, okay? The thing that we're trying to figure out is how to stop hesitating. What is hesitation? Hesitation is like, here you are right here, right? We'll say it here. Here's where you are right here. And over here is where you want to be, whatever that is for you. It could be a rank or an income or whatever. So what's the problem is that in your journey towards this, something happens where you stop and you start worrying about, oh no, is this what I'm doing going to put my family at risk? Or is it going to put my morals at risk? Is it going to make me do things that I don't want to do, you know, and so on. And so we hesitate. And most people think that hesitation is like this, where we walk, we're trying to get towards our thing and we stop. And then we take a break. Some of you all have people on your team probably who say, I'm going to take a break for like a month, right? And they think that they're going to pick up where they left off. It's not how it works. Every time you hesitate, what ends up happening is you create a process where you start rolling backwards. So if you decide, all right, I guess I'm okay, I can do this, you're really kind of bringing yourself back to where you once were. And if you keep taking breaks, it'll always feel like you're always working, but not actually getting anywhere. So what we need to do is figure out what causes this hesitation. What is the secret so that we can progress consistently? Some of you probably have consistency as a bottom strength, right? And it's probably freaked you out or upset you a little bit. I'm going to teach you a little bit of the secret here. So what I've discovered in working with thousands of people is that hesitation comes, okay, you're going to write this down. Hesitation comes when there's something you want to do and you doubt you can do it by just being you. I'll say it again. Hesitation comes when there's something that you want to do and you doubt you can do it by just being you.
One more time.
Hesitation comes when there's something that you want to do and you doubt you can do it by just being you. Because being you is natural, it's easy, it's automatic. But if you doubt it, you become something you're not, and you hesitate, and you begin to roll backward. Does that make sense? Easy to articulate, right? Now you know. So I'm going to teach you some tools on how to get past it. The first thing is, by the way, did everybody get that? Hesitation? Got it? Okay. The first thing is the reason why we're hesitating is because there's something that we care about, that we're worried, is being put at risk. Okay? In other words, if I keep progressing, I'm going to put something important in danger. And so I got to make sure that it's not in danger so that I can feel free to progress. Right? Gallup did this really cool thing where they broke up all 34 strengths into 4 domains. And these 4 domains show us not only how we like to do things, but they show us what we care about. And so if I know how I like to do things and I know what I care about, I can move past hesitation and know who I am. Because think about it, that's who you are. How you like to do things and what you care about most. That's it. That's who you are. And it's in that strengths report, and I'm going to teach you all how to read it. So when they broke up these 4 domains, into these 4 domains, oh my gosh, it made understanding strengths so easy. So like I said, you're going to learn some things that are so simple that you can actually start going and applying today with other people, okay? So the first, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you these 4 domains, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to focus this towards building a network marketing business with Doterra, okay? But you're going to see how it works in your personal life too. when I'm teaching you these 4 domains, we're going to talk about how, like, basically what needs to be honored with everything you do in the business. So you can do the business your way, instead of thinking you have to be something you're not. Okay? Is everyone ready for that? Okay. I can already see smoke coming out of some of your ears already. Okay, we're going to have some fun now. We'll make it a little easier now. So the first of the 4 domains we're going to talk about is the most important, in my opinion, because Doterra really, really attracts these people, okay? It's the relationship builders, okay? So how many of you all have your full 34 strengths report here? Top 5 is totally fine too, but full 34 is even better. Okay, cool. All right, so when you look at your strengths report, take a look and see how many of the relationship building strengths you have in your top 10 or 5, okay? While I'm doing this, I'm gonna go on right ahead. It doesn't?
It'll be the blue ones.
It'll be the blue ones. Is it color coded?
Mm-hmm.
What's that? Oh, cool. Yes. Yeah. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Perfect. Oh, you're a great example. In fact, you're a really good example. Okay. Real quick, little bit of information. I want you to write this down. In the top 10 strengths, by the way, just FYI, it's important to know this. Your top 10 strengths is where you are 4 things. So write this down. Influential. Your top 10 strengths are where you are 4 things. The first one is influential. Okay, so when you're using your top 10 strengths, you're influential. You are moving people forward, right? You are also creative in your own way. You're also productive. And the last one is you connect with others. Okay, you connect. Influential, creative, productive, and you connect. Okay? The bottom strengths, this is why you want to know them. This is why the top 5 is not enough. The bottom strengths is where you go when you doubt yourself, and you are the opposite of those 4 things. You get in people's way, or you hold them back. You become boring and insignificant because you're not creative. Right? I'm just throwing these at you. Don't worry about writing these down. It's best to not even know this. Just know that it's a bad place to be. You also become unproductive.
It's the dark side.
Right? Does anyone know this? And you disconnect from others, especially the really important people to you. Okay? So stay on the bottoms. Unfortunately, we're not going to talk about those today. As much as I love it, we're going to skip that today. We're going to just focus on the highs. So the relationship building strengths, we're going to go right to. If you've got 3 or more of the relationship building strengths, then the desire that must be honored with everything you do in order to keep progressing, the desire that must be honored is to connect with the right, put that in quotes, people. So these are the relationship building. I'll just put RB here. Hopefully you'll all, I doubt you can see that, but write it on your notes. If you've got 3 or more of the relationship building strengths, then the desire that must be honored with everything you do that keeps you moving forward is that you connect with the right people. I forgot your name, sorry. Camille, you have 5. Is that true? Okay. Now, who are the right people? This is where we're going to have some fun. If the right people is up to you, okay? I'm not the judger of who the right people are. But there are 2 strengths that if you have them high or low, it'll help you understand who the right people are, okay? So the 2 strengths we're going to teach you is relator and includer. Does anybody here, I'm going to bet you're an includer, but we're just guessing. Does anybody here have relator high and includer low? Gentleman in the back. Sir, what is your name? Nathan. Okay, Nathan, where is relator on your strength?
Number 10.
And where is includer?
Oh, 31.
31, okay. Let me tell you a little bit about Nathan and how, wait, do you have 3 or more relationship building strengths?
I've got 2.
2. Okay, so this still sort of applies. So when you've got 3 or more relationship building, and you have this, but let me give you an example. Relators demand deep connection. This is why they can't stand small talk. Yes? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Don't like small talk, often are very uncomfortable or even awkward around small talk. That's why you have to drag them to parties, right? You bring them to a party, and Nathan and what's your name? Kira? Okay, yeah. Kira and Nathan, you drag them to a party, and they're like, oh, because it's going to be a lot of small talk, and they don't like it. So they're immediately looking for the one person they know. Like, is there a person I know here? Please let there be a person I know at this party. And if they can't find that person, is there a dog or a baby I can hold? No dog, no baby? Okay, is there a trap door or a window I can crawl out of? Yes? Sometimes, okay. When you have relator high and includer low, the right people is maybe 2 or 3, and that's it. That's it. That's why a lot of them consider themselves introverted, because they care deeply about relationships, but only with a select few. When you flip it, anybody here with includer high and relator low? Couple here right next to each other. One in the back there? Okay. Where's relator and includer for you?
Relator's number 1.
And where's includer?
So I'm trying to find this because it's not in the top 5.
So it'll be in there, it'll just
Oh, 20.
20. Okay, so this is sort of you. Okay. So includer high, relator low. The right people is just about anybody, right? So when I say parties, you're like, yes. Be around people, this is awesome. I don't even care if I don't know them. We're going to figure it out. Includers are very forgiving. They love to just kind of like give everybody a break, even if they're jerks. Because, you know, they might find Jesus and everything will be fine, you know. Right? Multiple chances and then more chances. Relators, right back there, and you get 1 chance and that's it. Right? The includers are like, no, lots of chances, lots of chances. It's okay. You know, oh, I didn't do anything. Oh, you didn't do anything. That's okay. We'll try again next week. You're like, okay, I'm not going to talk to you again. You know what I mean? So connecting with the right people. What we're talking about with connection is relationships. Now, when it comes to Doterra, okay, when a person has 3 or more relationship building strengths in the top 10, anything in Doterra that they feel in their mind or heart that will put relationships at risk, they will not do it. What's one of the first things we have to do in network marketing? Make a list. And guess what list? We're going to put all your friends, everyone you know and care about on this list. Right? And they're like, that list is where relationships go to be risked. So the names they put on that list are not actually friends. They're just minor acquaintances that they're not worried about risking. The ones they truly care about will never go on that list. Right? So what in Doterra, a relationship builder must do, for example, making a list in a way that enhances relationships. Right? Writing their name down is the first step towards making the relationship better. If they believe that, they'll do it. And they'll, like, so what I do with relationship builders, I'll tell them, look, you're not going to put 100 names of people you're going to go pitch. You're going to put the names of 100 people you'd love to just say hello to without an agenda. No agenda. Because if a relationship builder is talking to people, their back office grows. If they're staring at the back office and trying to come up with strategies, it shrinks. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Because if they're trying to figure out strategies on how to talk to a human being in a way that leads towards an agenda, and they start rolling backwards. Okay, anyone have any questions? Pretty simple? Yes, we've seen it in our business. One more thing, relationship builders need connection. That means they need authenticity. They need to feel like they're giving other people a voice and hearing them out. Okay? So that's the first one. 3 relationship building. If you've got 3 of them in your top 10, this is you. Let's talk about the influencers next. So influencing is the second one. Let's go with red. Yeah, let's do that. Actually, I'll do that. So influencing the second one. If you have 3 or more influencing strengths in the top 10, does anybody here have that? Yellow. It's like yellow, orange. You back there? How many you got? 3? Okay. How many do you have? Are both of you relationship builders too?
Uh-huh.
Right on. It's all about people. It's all about others. Whew, that's some problems right there, right? Okay. People are complicated, right? All right, so if you got 3 or more influencing strengths, this is the desire that must be honored with everything you do, okay? It's to move, just move people forward. All right, this is the influencing domain. Okay, if you've got 3 or more of the influencing domain, then everything you must do, everything you do must honor your desire to move people forward. That means seeing them getting from where they are to where you foresee them, because you've got all the visions of where they can move to. And then you've also got the visions on how they can get there. But most importantly, you've got all the visions on how you can help. Influencers, if you go up to an influencer and say, oh my gosh, I just had this great experience. Like in the last year, I changed my life. I had, my health got better. I got married. We bought the house. I got the job of my dreams. Everything changed because I just decided to take control of my life. And the influencer will sit there and go, okay, at what point are they going to tell me that I had something to do with this? Because they want to be involved. Back there is laughing. You know what I'm talking about. Okay. So the influencer needs to know that moving people forward is happening. In Doterra, influencers don't like to get involved in things that they feel will just get in people's way. For example, too much training, right? An influencer also, this is actually kind of fun, most influencers just get in their own way. Because when they meet a person, right, an influencer will meet a person in their head, they're like, oh my gosh, I can see where you are right now. And they'll come to a class, right? I can see where you are, and I can totally see where you're going to be, and I can see how you can get there, and I can see how I can help you. And they're like, I just came for the brownies. You know?
This question says that sounds a lot like developer strength, but the developers are relationships.
It sounds like it is.
So how would you explain it? Because I've got like the developer piece, but I don't have. Like,
Developers don't demand. They only encourage and hope.
Okay, got it.
That make sense? So a developer will say, here's something inspiring. You get it? An influencer will, here's something inspiring. When are you going to move? So an influencer, Emily Wright, right? She'll be like, when is your goal? And when are you supposed to hit your goal? Okay, so influencers, when getting back to what I was talking about, where they get in their way is they tell people all about these visions they have about where they are and where they can go and how they can get there and how they can help. And they just dump all this on people without their permission. Why? Because they're impatient. And they just want to see you overcome your fears so fast. That's why they love books like the 5-second rule, overcome your fears in 5 seconds. You know what I mean? So they want to be involved in that. Where influencers can totally walk in Doterra is to stop putting their visions of where people can be and start asking, where are you? Right? I'm going to just stop burning all my energy yelling at you. Where are you? Where do you want to be? How do you want to get there? And then here's me, staying who I am for you. How can I help you do that? So many times when we're mentoring, we think we have to have all the answers. Stop. You don't. They have the answers. You just need the questions. Where are you? Where do you want to be? How do you want to get there? How can I be me in a way that'll help you get what you want? That's how my mentor calls go. Like one of our people on our downlines, hey, I want to work with you. Okay, cool. What do you want to work? Let's do a call. I'll get on the phone. I have 5 of these, by the way, just so y'all know where I'm coming from. I'll get on the phone and I'll say, hello, and it'd be one of our leaders. Her name is Susan, right? And she'll say, hey, Eddie, how you doing? Now, the mentor call has begun from that moment. And I always say the same thing. So if I ever tell you this, no, I always tell people this because I love this. I say, how am I doing? I'm happy to be talking to you, right? How are you? Where are you? How are you doing? I'm about to get a healthy dose of where they are. Well, I got this going on, I got this going on, I got this going on. Okay, cool. Where do you want to be at the end of the week? Right? Oh, well, I want this, and I want this, and I want this. Okay, awesome. How do you want to get it? Well, I want to do this, and I want to do this, and I want to do this. Great. What can I do to help you? Well, Eddie, I would love it if you can do this, this, this. And I make sure that I don't let them put their to-do list into my to-do list. Okay, it's important. Don't let people do that. Okay, that sounds like a you thing, but that other one I can do. You can't count on me to create websites for you. I cannot do that. But what I can do is cheer you along while you create your website or whatever, right? So what I'm doing here is letting them lay out the path because all I want them to do is just one thing. Do. That's it. Just do. Because I know that if they're doing, they're either getting what they want or they're learning. Right? So we can just keep people moving consistently. So will our business. Does that make sense? Is that helpful? Yeah? Okay. Move people forward. Influencers must always know. Oh, I got to tell you about the difference between these two. So an influencer needs to see people moving forward and enjoys connection. A relationship builder needs connection and enjoys seeing people move forward. And both of them will risk one for the other. An influencer will risk relationships in order to ensure the moving forward. And the relationship builder will put the moving forward at risk in order to ensure the relationship. I love hearing the We've got 2 more domains. And by the way, this next one has been very patient. All right, executors, we're going to talk about you. Executors are like, oh my gosh, when is he going to tell us what to do already? Because executors love to be just told what to do. How many of you all have 3 or more executing strengths in your top 10? Yeah. So executors can't stand a lot of mindset stuff because it's a waste of time. Can we just go do already? Why do we have to think about why? Why don't we just do? Yes? Okay. So if you've got 3 or more executing strengths, everything you do that must be honored, you have to honor this with everything you do or you will hesitate, is to make sure, this is a longer one, because y'all are very demanding people, make sure things, and I say things because anything, make sure things are done the right way. Okay. Executors always giggle when I tell them that. What's that? This is true. Okay, how many relationship builders are married to executors? That's a fun combo. Okay, so executors need to make sure things are done the right way. That means productivity must be involved in everything we do. There must be some sort of a productivity. I need to see productivity or else I'm not doing it. Right? And I'm not saying fast or slow. There's really no speed to this. It's just making sure things are done the right way, whatever the right way is. For you, you decide. It could be God's way, it could be your way, or it could be other people's way. It's up to you to decide. But right way is important. So how many of you all have belief in your top 10, whether you're an executor or not? Woo, okay, this is the toughest crowd here. So executors who have belief, not only do they make sure things are done the right way, but those right way must line up with their core values. Yes, Natalie? Which means that if it doesn't line up with the core value, it's not coming in. It's not going to be involved. Yeah. So you have to understand that the fact that I'm here right now means that what I speak lines up with Natalie's core values. Yes? Okay. Otherwise, she wouldn't let me within the yards of you all. Okay? So And the other thing about belief, which this is a compliment, I swear, it's not going to sound like one, but I promise it is. Okay, when you live your life this way, everything that comes at you must go through a vetting process. That means, oh, okay, I see your idea. Let me marinate on it, right? And so everything, we need to see if it's going to line up with the core values or not. And so we have to go through the marinating process. And for activators, it's extremely frustrating because we just want to go. But the executors with belief want to hold off. Hence the phrase. This is why they get labeled as stubborn. And stubborn's a good thing. Yes.
So you have activator and belief in your top 5.
It's rough, isn't it? Yeah, it's a bit weird, but it works for you. I could go into it, but we'll just get the concepts for today. So executors. Where executors with it here? Let's talk about where executors struggle. That 100 names list that we're talking about, they look at that as conversations that can go anywhere, right? Their biggest worry is they're going to get on the phone with somebody that's going to suck them into a 20-minute conversation about their cat.
And it's a fear.
Yeah, it's real. Because remember, productivity is important, which means time is important. By the way, executors believe, and I want you to write this down, executors believe that time is life, and every minute wasted is life thrown away.
Yes.
A 25-minute conversation about why they can't get their dog to poop is not a way to spend it. Right? So what I teach executors is to shift that. Start telling people you've only got 5 minutes. Say, look, I love you and I love, let's hang out today. We'll sing Kumbaya next week, but right now I got stuff to do. I got 5 minutes. How are you doing? What do you got going on? I got something I want to share with you, or get you fixed on or set up. Or make sure you're using your oils or whatever. Does that make sense? I got 5 minutes. One of my favorite, you don't remember back in the day when you can go to like things called stores and you can shop, right? Well, what I would use is my excuse is like, hey, I'm on my way to the store. I only got like 10 minutes, right? I could do that. I could say that. I only got 10 minutes. Oh, okay, cool. This is a quick thing.
You said that to me.
I did. Because it's great advice. It works.
All right.
I could have been on the way to the store. Sometimes I am. Sometimes I got stuff to do and I don't want them to hurt their feelings. But I'm not an executor, by the way. That's a strategic thing. I'll get to that in a minute. So executors need to know that things are being done the right way. Let me explain how serious this is for these people. Does anybody have 4 or more executing strengths? Okay, what's your name? Natalie. Oh my goodness, Natalie. Okay, how many are executing? 5. Okay, so this is obsessive land. If you have 5.
Are you talking about in the top 5 or the top 10?
Top 10.
Oh.
Top 10, okay. So let me explain Natalie or other executors. You all have to understand this. I'm married to one, and I'm going to talk about this because I love talking about my wife this way. She, just like all executors, they wake up in the morning and there's this like invisible scoreboard, okay, that only they can see. And the scoreboard every morning says 0. And what do? They're like, okay, there's the scoreboard 0. I got to get some stuff done. So what do? They need to have some sort of system so that they know that what they're doing is getting points on the board. Hence, a list.
Yes.
And you cross it off, it feels so good.
Yeah. And if you do something that's not on the list, you go back and you put it
We'll talk
on.
about that in a second. So they'll put everything on the list. Makeup, hair, dress, I breathe, I meditated, whatever. Check, 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 check. Points, 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 points. Right? And they got like 4 or 5 things on the list. They're like, okay, I'm going to go knock these things out. And on their way, they're like, oh, I'll just grab this. Oh, I'm going to grab this. Why am I the only one who cares about things being done around here? And then they'll go do things, and they come back and go, all right, I got my list. All right, I did that. But wait a minute, I did something. It's not here.
Yes.
Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Executors need checklists. They need that. So let's go back to the 100 names list. The one thing that that all executors and all people can agree that if they're a human being on that list, they've got problems. Yes? Executors, it's your job to call these people and make lists of their problems. Of course. Why? Because it will help them. Yes. Because one of the biggest problems that people have is they forget their problems, as if they'll just magically go away. But now you executors, you're here to remind them. There's stuff that they need to take care of, and something bad is going to happen if they don't write down. The first thing they need to do is get a kiss. Does that make sense? So what you're doing is you're going to love and embrace your executing abilities and make it valuable for others. And when you're loving on who you are and being that person who's just there to get stuff done for them, they will buy your stuff and money goes right into your bank account. Does that help?
Yeah, I'm just relating to so much of what you're saying is pretty down.
I know.
It's spot on.
Good question.
What if you're 3 or more
In those first 3 relationship influencer,
You have 3 of these and 3 of these and 3 of these?
just like, well, equally or more.
Yeah, okay, well, we can talk about that before I get to the 4th one. The 4th ones are having a great time no matter what, so you'll all be fine. These 3 here, if you've got 3 and 3 and 3, then obviously distraction is going to be a problem for you, right? Easily distracted, yes? You have 3 of these and 3 of these and 3 of these? Tell me how you keep from being distracted, having these desires all needing to be honored.
Just try my best to hold them, I think, yeah, I have the list, I'm checking off the list. Relationship is a big deal.
Mhm.
And then I'm just gonna try to guide people and influence, so I think it's just in it all the time.
Yes.
Energy in all the ways.
Yes, it's like you've taken who you are and like if you're a stick of butter and you've spread it out over more pieces of bread. Versus some of us who have 5 of one thing and they're just like, oh no, I'm all here. You know what I mean? It becomes a little more focused. Now, maybe not you, but typically when someone has 3, 3, and 3, they have trouble with finding their purpose or their focus or their calling or typically, not you, I can totally see that. But typically they'll have trouble with that. And so I'm going to bet you've been doing some self-development for a while.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Okay, so that's probably, you're moving along better than most. Congratulations, that's awesome. So anyway, so these are the 3. Everyone get good help from this so far? We haven't even gotten the 4th one yet. Yeah. This is where it gets real fun. All right, so how many of you all have 3 or more strategic thinking strengths? You couldn't wait to shoot that number up. Look at you. Your brother, what's your name, brother?
Eric.
Eric?
Yeah.
Okay, Eric's got how many? 5. Okay, obsessive. All right, we'll get to that in a second. What is your name here? Annette. Okay, Eric and Annette. So let me tell you a little bit about these people. Their desire that must be honored with everything they do is to think. All right, I'm gonna have to get low on this one. Excuse me. So think, create, and or learn. Okay. Strategic thinkers. These are the people that love to gather information. Okay, we're going to talk about how they work in Doterra. They love to gather information. They love to theorize, analyze, strategize, visualize, all of that stuff. Taking complex bits of information and make it easy for other people to understand. Yes? Eric? Yeah? I've got 3 of them. What have I been doing this whole time? Right? Trying to take things that are complex and break them down and make them simple for other people to understand. Strategic thinkers are so good at gathering information that they think that the best way to empower another person to make a decision is to dump all this information on them before they make a decision. Right? Oh, you're like here's a classic example. And Eric, and what's your name again? Annette, tell me if this is you or not. It could be you or it might not be you. Somebody asks you what time it is, and you tell them how the watch was made. Is that true, yes or no?
I start from elementary to tell them what happens to get to the point of what the question that they ask. Yes.
Yes. All right, cool. Eric, yes?
Time is an illusion.
All right, Annette?
I do get a lot of things.
Yes. Okay. Why? Because it's there. It's like your head is swelling, and if somebody doesn't ask you a question so you can dump it all out, it's like you're going to explode, right?
I feel like, because I'm not good, and I'm a dumper and a half, that's my team. But I feel like if I don't know how I got, then I'm fully good. And so
Right.
that's my problem.
Right, because it's all in there. To you, it's the most valuable thing in the world.
And then relationship is number 2, so I want to give all I got.
Right. And if you don't, you're putting relationships at risk.
Yeah.
Okay.
No one likes to be dumped on.
Right. So what we want to do is say, all right, well, how do I satisfy my need to give all the information without disempowering people? It's simple. We use our desire to gather information by asking people questions about what they want. Treat people like you treat the books and the webinars and the trainings and all the coachings and all the stuff that you take in, and ask them questions to learn about them. And after they've told you all their problems and what they want to fix, then you can say, I've got mounds of information that will help you. All you got to do is get a kit, which I'll break down how to close with these in just a second. All you got to do is get a kit, and I'll share that information with you. Because, you see, your information is worthless if they don't have a tool to use it with. By telling a person all the information and not giving them something to do, you've just eliminated their ability to make a decision.
Say that again.
I'll try. Some of this stuff comes out. By giving them all the information without giving them a tool, right, you've taken away their ability to do something with your information, which means they can't say yes. They'll say, I need to think about it or do research. And you're going to be like, wait a minute, I just dumped 7 hours of research on you in 5 minutes. What research could you possibly need to do? Actually, I need to just get away because my head hurts. I had somebody in one of my classes, she literally stood up and goes, my head is about to explode. And I'm like, ooh, I might have overdone it. Because she didn't buy, right? What's the point? What do we want to do? We want to get the tools. So we say, hey, look, I've got some great information that's going to help you. I've been studying this for whatever years, however long, you know. And say, I know this stuff, and I've helped X amount of people do this. Pick a kit, and I will share that information with you. And I'll show you how to, we can talk about closing in just a second, because we need to get to that. Cool, right on time. All right, so strategic thinkers, what gets in their way is they will often feel like what they're being asked to do in Doterra is mindless, like assembly line, like 100 names list. Hey, you want some oils? Hey, you want some oils? Hey, you want some oils? I'm dying slowly, right? Because there's no intellectual stimulation in this process. It has to be a learning one, right? But if you put a strategic thinker in front of 7 or 100 pieces of it, like webinars or trainings that are like maybe 20 minutes long, they'll say, oh my gosh, I can go through that in a second. Yes? 20-minute trainings? No problem. How about 20-minute conversations with people who have problems and are interested in sharing them with you? And you get to learn. Yeah? So you're going to call people or connect with them or follow up or whatever to learn about them, to learn about their problems. How do you think I understand this? How do you think I can get in all your heads right now? Because I spent 1.5 years of my life now, 2.5 years since leadership, learning about people, learning and understanding what's in their way. Is this helpful so far?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. Excuse me. Okay. When it comes to these 4 things, I could talk about tons of different things. Like, for example, I've got a workshop where I break down how to do like prospecting, inviting, closing, mentoring, all of those things and more when it comes to Doterra, so you can do everything authentically. But I want to just focus on closing for now. Is that okay? Yep. Okay. So I want you to think about closing for just a second, because when it comes time to ask a person to buy something, there can either be anxiety on your end or not. The reason why there would be anxiety is because you're afraid you're about to put something here at risk. Okay? If you believe that you were not going to put them at risk and you believe you can enhance these things, you won't have anxiety, which means neither will they when you ask them to buy. Does that make sense? Okay? Well, because what you put out, they'll hear. I'll give you a great example of this. I think it was Gallup that did this. It was a really cool study where I'm going to give you a word that's really hard, and you're going to have to write it down. But Gallup did this study, I believe it was Gallup, did this study where they took 2 musicians, all right? And I believe it was a cello player and a violinist. And they had them play, and they put these electroencephalograph things on their heads to monitor their brainwaves. And when the 2 people were sitting in the same room playing off of each other, they recognized that their brainwaves were moving in sync, okay? it was really cool. And I'm forgetting the word. It's word. It's really a weird word. I'll remember in a minute. But what happened was then they took those two musicians and they put them in separate rooms and had them play the exact same music. And no longer were their minds working in the same sync. Okay? I'm forgetting the word off the top of my head. But basically the way it works is I'm being me right now, right here in front of you all. And what's happening is, oh, I got it. It's called Neuron Mirroring. Write this down. It's really cool stuff. Neuron Mirroring. You all are doing it right now because you're trying to listen to every word I'm saying. And since I'm being me, our brainwaves are literally working in sync. But if I change who I am and try to be something I'm not, like my 34 string, which is harmony, you will all feel it physically. Because you've been listening to me talk for almost an hour now. If I change, if I suddenly doubt myself, you will know. And it will make you feel very uncomfortable, and you will disconnect from me. So I can't change you. I gotta stay in me through this whole process, okay? That means you gotta stay who you are through the whole process. So for relationship builders, we'll talk about them first. A relationship builder will totally be them when they're inviting people to try samples, because there's no threat there. Just try some samples. I'm giving you free things. I like that. Thank you, dear. They'll totally be them when they're inviting them to classes or events. And they'll totally be them when they're presenting. But once it comes to the money, and if they have even a moment of doubt that asking for money will put the relationship at risk, they will shift the way they speak. And the person in front of them will say, let me think about it. Let me talk to my spouse. Here's a fascinating one. Let me see when I get paid again. Who doesn't know when they're going to get paid again? Has anyone had that one? Let me see when I get paid again. Really? You've had that one, right? Okay. So people will say these things, but what they mean is not, let me think about it, let me talk to my spouse. What they really mean is something weird just happened and I don't know what it is, so I need to go. Okay? This is why network marketing has such a bad name. Because so many people out there are being so inauthentic when they're asking for money. They're making it weird. Stop. Just be you. So as a relationship builder, you say, look, I feel you. You've told me all your problems, and I shared with you all the tools that will help you. I feel you. I want to help you. Pick kit 1 or pick kit 2. Either one will help you, and when you choose it, we will do this together. You just breathed on that. Did that feel good when I said that? Okay. From California. Right on. All right, does that sound authentic?
Can you repeat that?
I'll say it again. So I feel you. I've got some tools that will help you. Pick one, kit 1 or kit 2. Either one will help you, right? The more expensive one will help you faster. That's basically it, right?
But you're confident when you say it.
Well, it's true. I mean, they wouldn't charge more if it wouldn't, right? So one will help you faster, but it's up to you to pick one, and we will do this together. And it doesn't matter, because I know some of you are already asking this. It doesn't matter what their strengths are. What matters is that you're being you, and they will see your value.
What if you know too much about their personal financial situations, and you really do feel like you're asking them to spend money they don't have?
Okay. So what if you know too much about their financial situation? Does everybody want to know that too? Their financial, this is going to sound harsh, but it's true. Their financial situation is none of your business. You don't need to take control over their investments. You present value and let them make a decision. If you want to love them, if you want to trust them, then trust them and love them. Let them decide. Your job is to bring the value. Does that make sense? You're not forcing anybody to do anything. That's the opposite of what we're trying to do here. We're trying to empower people, not manipulate or control, right?
My thought on that real quick is if you pause because you're concerned about their finances, then I would look at myself and say, I need to up-level my belief.
Yeah.
Because I've used them for 8 years, and I would say it's worth giving plasma for, it's worth putting on a credit card and going into debt and selling your kitchen table. So that's where I'm at,
Absolutely.
and that's how I talk about it.
When we first started, I had just been fired twice. I had no job. My wife used the woman card. That's what she calls it, by the way. I didn't call it that, so don't get offended. She calls it the woman card. It's that credit card that she never told anybody about. She just used it without asking my permission. Not that she needed it, obviously. But so we had nothing. We had no job. My wife's parents were paying our rent, and the church was giving us food, right? And I was on unemployment. So we had nothing yet. We knew we had to buy a kit, and we knew we had to do business. And here's what's really cool about that, and this goes down that same road. I want you all to understand this. When I first got introduced to Doterra, it was while I had the job. And then Doterra helped my daughter. I need to tell this story. Okay, my friends. So before we moved to Utah, by the way, we moved next door to Laura. At the time, her name was Laura Holbrook. Her name is Laura Stoker now. We moved next door to Laura, and Laura was a diamond. And we moved next door to her, and she didn't know this, but we had a daughter who was just about to turn one, or just turned one, and had health issues her whole life. How bad it was respiratory issues, major respiratory issues. So bad that I had to go to the doctor to buy albuterol. And then we put it in this little pump that they painted a little dog on to make it cute, but it wasn't cute. This is an evil device. But she was like not even a year old, and I had to put this mask on her so she would breathe for 20 minutes. And we would do this at like 2 in the morning because she'd be coughing all night. And now, by the way, 1-year-olds are very strong. I'm 6'7", 250 pounds, and I have to put my whole weight on this little baby girl just to please breathe. I just want you to get an hour of sleep. So when Laura came over our house, saw this, Sutton had a runny nose, and Sutton always had a runny nose. She goes, oh, our family uses oils. Would you be interested in trying? And she didn't know that we were desperate for anything because the stuff the doctors were giving wasn't really changing anything. So we said, sure, give it to us. And then Angela bought a kit. And it just went, sorry, I should go back. Just off the samples alone, Sutton's whole body chemistry changed. Just the samples alone was, I can't remember what they were off the top of my head, but in 3 days, Sutton slept through the night. And after a week, she could go out, which was weird because she would get sick anytime we go anywhere, which meant that we were a family of 7, never could go anywhere because she would just get sick. And then after we started using the oils, within about 3 weeks, Sutton was running and playing outside. Her hair started to grow. She started to talk. And having me as a dad, it was unusual that she wasn't a talker, right? So she started to talk, and she started to run, and she started to do all kinds of things. She's like our miracle baby, right? And so when we first decided we're going to do this business, we would tell that story to people. So we called, Angela, my wife, called one of our friends who used to babysit Sutton and said, hey, we're sharing Doterra, essentially, right? And then she says, oh, I use Doterra. This was a woman who babysat our daughter, who knew she had health issues. Sure you guys are wondering the same thing my wife wondered. She goes, why didn't you tell us? And this was her words. I was afraid you were going to think I was just trying to sell you something. And if you know my wife, this won't surprise you, the next words out of her mouth were, how dare you? People who did share with us, they're loving the fact that we're bringing somewhere between 7 and 9 million in volume every month in their business because they didn't get in the way. And here's the second thing she did, Laura. When I got fired and we walked right next door to say, hey, I just got fired, she did not say, oh, I'm so sorry, what are you going to do? She said, are you going to get unemployment? Like, I don't even know, I think so. Oh, that's great. And that means you can do this business. And we were like, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do the business. Do you see what I mean? She stayed out of our business and empowered us. That's what I want you all to do. Be who you are and empower other people. Is that helpful? Okay, let's go to the influencers. Move people forward, get people from where they are to where they want to be. Right? All right, well, I know where you are. I understand where you want to be. Here's a kit, kit 1 or kit 2, pick either one. Get that, and I will make sure you get from where you are to where you want to be. That's it. That's influencing authentically. Does that make sense? Pick a kit, and I'll make sure you get from where you are to where you want to be. Executors. I've written down all the things that are going on with you. Here's a list of a couple of things that are going to help you. Pick one. I don't care which one. Just pick one. And I'll make sure you learn how to do this step by step. Executors love that. Oh, step by steps. I can work with the step by steps. Right? Give me the step by steps everywhere. Stop telling me all this mental stuff. Just give me the step by steps. Right? Okay. Strategic thinkers. I've learned all about you. And what I like to do is share what I've learned and how to help you. Pick a kit and you will get all my knowledge. Right? Pick a kit and you will get all my knowledge. Okay, let's combine some of these, because some of you have like three of multiple ones. Let's say you're a relationship builder and an influencer. Pick a kit and I'll get you from where you are to where you want to be, and we'll do it together. Influencers, executors, pick a kit and I'll make sure you get from where you are to where you want to be step by step. Executors, strategic thinkers, I will make sure you get from where you want to be step by step with my knowledge, helping you along the way. Strategic thinkers and relationship builders, pick a kit and we'll do this together with my knowledge.
Could you say the executor or executor and the strategic again?
Okay, so executing and strategic thinking. Pick a kit and we'll do this step by step and I'll share all my knowledge with you along the way. Right?
So are you supposed to figure out who that person is and say it?
No, no, you say who you are.
Just be you.
It's about you. It's about you getting out of the way. Being who you are. Was that helpful? Yeah?
If we might just comment, if
Sure.
we word it in from our perspective and who we are, right? Are they gonna relate to that?
Only if you're being honest.
Oh, right, we said that earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They will always relate as long as you're being honest. If you try to be something you're not, they will not relate. They will disconnect and they will know something's up, especially when you start talking about money. Right?
Did you already say, what would you do if you're all three, like not the
Three? Let's say if you're these three, let's do something really crazy, right?
Yeah.
Pick a kit and we'll do this together, making sure you get from where you are to where you want to be step by step. Now this is just my own little words. You can use them if you want or use your own, but understand the desire behind it. I'm honoring my desire to make sure that we're connecting, or I'm moving you forward, or we're getting things done the right way. Or I'm learning and you're learning. Okay. Yeah.
Is it a disadvantage to be so top heavy in one area and
No.
not? Okay.
Go back to the golden rule.
Right.
Don't go there. Stay in the golden rule. See what I mean? It happens. It's okay. It's because we were trained to believe that who we are is not enough.
Can you get those quick things you said?
Do it together.
Connecting.
Connecting with the right people, right? Is relationship building, moving people forward, influencing, making sure things are done the right way, executing, thinking and creating, and or learning. Because not all strategic thinkers like to learn, and not all strategic thinkers like to create. But they do like to think, obviously. So they think and create, or they think and learn, or they think and create. Okay. All right, we're gonna do one more thing.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Why is activator an influencer and not an executor? What understanding
Okay,
is
activator is emotional. Executing is not. They don't want, typically, now I'm saying typically, because there are some who do. But if someone has 5 or 6 executing strengths, they prefer no emotions, just do. Whereas influencers like emotion and drama. Yeah. For example, if you've got, does anyone here have communication high? Okay, so talking with your hands,
Yes.
because words are not enough. You gotta emphasize this. And also influencers like to say things like, this is a gateway to my dreams. And then executors are like, it's just a market. Does that make sense?
She just said it's just a marker.
So, do you have responsibility in your top 10? You, no, you might have blonde hair.
I
Yeah.
actually not saying it, so I am very.
Okay, cool. So, wait, hold on. What is your name? Tannen. How did you come about being here today?
She's my mom, and so I'm starting, I want her life.
Ooh, you brought family into the business. All right. So, Tannen, what about that made you giggle?
I don't know, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of myself based off of what I know in a lot of things, so I am interested to see which ones that are my top, because I'm having a hard time finding what's more like me, because I can see myself in all of them.
Sure, sure. There is a little of everything in all these because you're doing it your way while honoring one. Here's a really great example of what you might be feeling. Everybody wants to connect. Everybody wants to move people forward. Everybody wants to be productive. Everybody wants to be creative. But you got to do it your way, right? For example, you have 5 relationship building strengths, right? How creative are you when you're sitting alone in your office, staring at a wall or your back office? Right. But when you're around people, it's different. Well, no, how about this? When you're around people in social environments, when you're just hanging around, not learning. Okay. So it's different, right? When you're, like my wife, for example, dominant executor, low strategic thinking. She thinks by doing it. So she'll go out, like this is fascinating. My wife will go out and tend to the garden, and she'll just pull weeds. Like she'll pull weeds for hours. She'll just sit out there and pulling weeds. And my first thought as a strategic thinker, like, why are you wasting your time? Until I learned she was thinking. Because she can't sit in a room like I can with a blank dry erase board and think. Right. So that's how she thinks, by making sure things are done the right way and yelling at everybody else because they're not doing it right. Okay? So you are all the things, but you do it your own way. And when you understand your way, then you honor your way through all those things.
So, but can you, like, because I feel like I know other people have certain ways of doing something that I wish I was better. Are there ways to, like,
Go back to the golden rule.
Or, like, learn and develop?
Go to the golden rule. What does the golden rule say?
Thank you.
Your top 10 strengths are how you do everything. There's no need to be something you're not. Yes, Dave.
So one thing I would love if you could talk about with all this that I've wanted an expert to teach me about is why so often do I hear people think that one of them isn't them? Like why does it automatically resonate?
Yeah.
And like for me specifically, there's one of mine that is actually my number 1 now. It wasn't my number 1 the first time I took it, but years later it became my number 1. And I am avoiding it like the plague. Like it's not in my life at all.
It's the word. You're getting hung up on the word. A lot of us looked at the strengths report and saw the words and go, oh, that's me. Because they think the words have anything to do with the strength. Most of them don't. Consistency. Now, I can't really throw rocks at Gallup on this because I could never come up with a better word than the ones that they chose. But the strength consistency has nothing to do with whether or not you are consistent. So what happens is when someone doesn't own their strengths report, I used to like freak out, like, oh my gosh, maybe I'm doing this wrong. But I learned that they didn't actually know the strength. They only looked at the word and they brought their drama. Here's a great example. I did a strengths training for a group in Romania. And there was a gal on the call who had command very high. And I was confused. And I'm like, okay, well, are you the kind of person that if you were in the hospital if you cared about me and I'm in the hospital and I'm dying and you were the only person in that room, are you the person that's going to make sure all the doctors and the nurses are doing what they're supposed to do, even if you have to yell at them? She's like, yeah, that's totally me. Then why do you think command is not you? And then she told me, to her, in Romania, command means this. And my brain went,
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, I got a lot to learn. So she was getting hung up on the word and not realizing that command is a powerful, influencing, service-driven strength. It's very impatient too, and mean when the loved ones, the people they have that they love, are in danger, right? If I'm sick, I definitely want someone with command in my corner, making sure that I'm not getting stuck with stuff that's going to hurt me while I'm unconscious. Does that make sense? So don't get hung up on the word. You've got to research and understand the strengths. And the best way to do that is to do. Yes, sir.
So I'm wondering, just maybe a little gremlin, like how accurate do you feel like it is, and when is it good to retake it? I'm having gremlins like, oh, maybe I rushed through it too fast.
And my mother-in-law just said that recently. She literally freaked out and called Gallup and made them reset it so she could take it again.
Oh, I know.
But when she showed me her strengths, I was like, Mom, you've got to be kidding me. This is totally you.
Yeah.
And I've coached 3,000 people.
So I just need someone else close to me read it and tell me.
That's the best way to do it. It's a really good way. So what you can do is you can take, if you're not sure about loving on what you got, read the descriptions that Gallup gives you to a friend, someone who knows you, and say, is this me? And they're going to be like, yeah, why don't you know that? So when I hear that, I'm hearing a desire to not own who you are. Because like you, I bet like you, like most of us, definitely me, is we were trained at a very young age, somewhere between 0 and 7, to believe that who we are was not enough. Who we are was broken, was wrong, too loud, whatever, right? Especially if you had influencing strengths. You were told that you were too much. Shut up, sit down, you're too quiet, you're too busy, please back off, leave me alone, etc., etc. Because we were raised by people who didn't know who they were either. So the only thing they knew how to do was project their own crap onto you. You know what I mean? So you were trained that way, don't feel bad, because we've got a lot of years of training to undo. This strength thing is a roadmap. So I'm going to teach you all a roadmap. You all ready? Okay. We have some fun so far?
Yes.
Yeah? Is this cool?
Yes.
Okay. What's that? No, it's just 4. All right. Whew, okay, another one. Okay, so everyone's having fun. Great. All right, we're going to take this to one step level up higher, all right? Remember how at the very beginning of this, what did I ask you? I said, get clear about what you want. Now, don't make it vague. Here, I'm going to give you an example. Imagine going into a restaurant, and the waiter comes over and says, hi, what would you like today? And you're like, I'd like something hot, please. What do you think the waiter's going to say? Well, we've got lots of hot. Can you be a little bit more specific? That's how I feel when people say, well, Eddie, I want financial freedom. Or I want to believe in myself. I want confidence. Great, we got lots of that. But what do you want? Can you all come up with something measurable? And don't say now or next week or next month, whatever. I don't care, it's up to you. I am using the word, I'm about to use the word goal, relationship builders, don't freak out. Why do relationship builders hate goals? Right? Because they feel like they're promises. Instead of they're just targets. Because if it's a promise and I don't hit it, then I put the relationship at risk.
Later on my team quit because
See, relationship builders are the kind of people that learn how to shoot arrows like this. They'll go into the field, right? And there's just trees flowing. And they walk into the field with their bare feet because they got it ground, you know? And they got their quiver with arrows, right? And then they got their bow with no target. I think God wants me to put it here today. Oh, this feels right. Let me go over here. Well, let me go over here. And influencers and executors are like, what are you doing? How do you even know you're getting better? How do you even know you're getting things done the right way? It just feels good. This one, I'm gonna put one this way. You know? So what we do with all people is realize, here's the truth. Goal setting is target setting. You set up a target, and you walk over here, and you've got a quiver with unlimited arrows. Y'all ever seen Lord of the Rings? Yes. Right? Legolas, unlimited. That guy just arrows constantly pulling. Where's he getting all these arrows from? That's you. Unlimited arrows. And a target right there. That means you can miss hundreds of them. So what? You're going to get better. But not without a target. So, what's your target? What do you want? And be specific. Something where if you got it, you can show me. Right? Maybe a new rank. Maybe an income. Maybe to enroll someone for the first time. Who knows? Or maybe to have someone you've enrolled enroll someone for the first time. That would be nice. A little duplication, right? What do you want? Just write down one tangible thing on your paper. One thing. We're going to talk about how to get it your way. Okay, see, you want to make it complicated. No, just pick anything. I'm not asking, we're not going to send this to Emily Wright, I promise. Just write anything down that you feel called to write down.
She'd love it.
Okay?
Something you want.
I'm not going to ask you to carve this in stone. You could change your mind after here. We're just going to use it as an example, but follow your heart on this one. What do you want? Something tangible. Okay? Something that you could show me if you got it. Okay? If I asked you what do you want, could you write it down? It's hard. It's hard. Most of us were not trained to figure out what we want. We were mostly told what we can't have. Right?
That's right.
Can't have that. No, that's not for you. What that really means is that wasn't meant for me, so it's not for you either. Yeah? It's hard. I know that my parents, both of them, my mom just passed away a couple months ago, a month and a half ago actually. And my dad passed away in '95. And I just wish I knew what their strengths were. And I wish I could go back in time and say, hey, see that little kid? He's believing everything you say. And when you put limits on him because you're putting limits on you, you're limiting him. But that's actually limiting you. Let me help you. Take the strengths assessment. It didn't exist back then. That's what I would love to do. Love to get Doc Brown in here with his DeLorean and head out there and do that. But I can't. So what am I doing? I'm teaching you. So you can teach your kids and your family, the people that you love. And then they can teach them. And we can make this viral. Right? Thank you, by the way. Okay. Everybody got one thing written down? Okay. Now, for those of you who have your full 34, this is going to be very easy. If you only have your top 5, it's going to be a little hard. If you don't have your strengths, you're just going to have to go with you. All right? Or I should say go with your heart. If you don't have your strengths assessment, pick one of these 4 you feel called to accept and own. Own it. Like that's me. If you don't have your strengths, just pick one and own it. For now. Okay? Just for now. And what I want to do is I want to teach you what's called the Strengths Proclamation and DNA. All right? And by the way, you're not going to get, by the way, I should probably preface this. Everything I taught you tonight, you do not get from Gallup because I teach strengths my way. So you're only getting this from me. Strengths Proclamation and DNA, I wrote it, I created it, I made it up, and working with thousands of people, and it's really great. The Strengths Proclamation is for you to proclaim to others and proactively claim for yourself who you are. By making this statement, I'm going to say it 100 times so you can write it down. I want you to all write it down. I love to do everything in a way. I love to do everything in a way. I love to do everything in a way. Got it? I love to do everything in a way that honors my desire. I love to do everything in a way that honors my desire to, T-O, and then the one, now for those of you who have full 34, well, actually let's start with the ones who don't have a strengths assessment. Just pick one of these 4. I love to do everything in a way that honors my desire to connect with the right people, or move people forward, or make sure things are done the right way, or think, create, and learn. And remember, I love to do everything. That means I love to inspire people, I love to connect with people, I love to be productive, I love to be creative in a way that honors my desire. Okay, for those of you who don't have the strengths assessment, just pick one and write that in there. If you've got your top 5, pick the one you have 3 or 2 of, and then add in 2 or the one or 2 of those in that statement. If you've got the full 34, only the ones you have 3 or more of in your top 10. Okay, so you're only going to have either 1 or 2 or 3. You can't have 4 in your top 10. Right? You can't have 12 top 10 strengths. So 3 or more. Only the ones you have 3 or more of. And you say, I love to do everything in a way that honors my desire to connect with the right people, or move people forward, or make sure things are done the right way, or think, create, and learn. I love to do everything in a way that honors my desire to connect with the right people and make sure things are done the right way. I love to do everything in a way that honors my desire to move people forward and think, create, and learn. That's me. I've got 5 influencing and 3 strategic thinking. I love to do everything in a way that moves people forward and I think, create, and learn. Okay? That's who I am. That's who I've been through this whole thing. Right? You all see it. And because you all see it, you've seen my value, which has made it very easy for you to be you. Yes?
Mhm.
Right? And that's why I kind of told jokes and made fun of the fact that some of you all were stubborn. It's cool. I'm looking at Natalie right now. Anyway, I love to do everything in a way that honors my desire too. And then you put in the ones you have 3 or more of. Write out your statement. Because we're going to use this. Perfect. Okay, you got it? What did you put? Okay, so influencers can't stand being around other people who are not interested in developing themselves. Does that kind of feel like you? Maybe both. It's possible. Okay, pick one, and we'll just own that for now. Okay. All right. Now watch this. I love to do everything. The words "do everything." I want you to circle it or highlight it. Do everything. Circle it or highlight it. Got it? Remember that goal that you wrote down a few minutes ago? You get to put that goal in there. And replace the "do everything" with that goal. And you can change love to anything you want. Get, have, will. I love, I build, I get to, achieve, whatever it is you want, in a way that honors my desire. Natalie, how many people are here? 70? I love to move 70 people forward in a way that honors my desire to move people forward and think, create, and learn. Right? Before we even started, we had a conversation about where you are. Before we even had, as we started to go, we had a conversation about what you want. Then we talked about how you want to get there. Right? And through this whole process, I'm being me so that you can figure out what do I have to offer you to help you make that happen your way. I'm giving you space to be you. I'm trusting you. I'm allowing you to make decisions and choices. All I got to do is teach you principles, like closing, for example, right? I'm not going to tell you how to close. I'm going to teach you the principle of closing so you get to make the decision for yourself. It's called free agency. And we were gifted this at birth, and I'm going to honor it with everything we do going forward. Right? One of my favorite people on the planet, Laura Jacobs, I'm just so honored that I could even call her a friend. She said that in order to bake a cake, you all have to use flour. You can't bake a cake without flour. But there's a lot of different types of flour, isn't there? That's the deal, right? So I teach the principles so that you can bring your own style. For example, relators. High relator, low includers. When they get in elevators, they like to hit the close button as fast as possible before other people get in. Right? That's their own way to use elevators. Includers are like, anyone need a ride? Sure? I'll wait, just in case someone's coming around the corner. Right? So you bring your own style. Was that helpful? I love to do everything in a way that honors my desire too. Boom, 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 boom. I love to, who said presidential diamond? Just curious. One person. Okay, cool.
What is 5 golds on your front line?
What's that?
What is 5 golds on your front line?
Blue. Blue diamond. There you go. So read yours out loud. I love to what?
The one with the strengths or the one with my goal?
The one with your goal.
I love to get to have 5 golds on my front line in a way that honors my desire to make sure that things are done right and I think and create and learn.
that feel good?
It felt really good.
You got emotional.
Yeah.
Because you love telling people how to do things.
I really do. It's so true.
Why
I
don't you
have
just
to like.
do it? Right? That's beautiful. All right, who else wants to share this? With the goal and the strengths. Nice and loud. And see, you need vulnerability here, my friends. It's cool to be vulnerable, yes.
I love to find a builder in a way that honors my desire to connect with the right people in the right way.
Okay, how's that feel?
Beautiful.
Feels very good, because it's true. Brilliant. Go ahead.
Very similar. I love to enroll new builders in a way that honors my desire.
Right, so you think about all the steps that you know that are required to enroll in the builder. I'm going to do it all in a way that's going to enhance relationships, right? So whether they join or not, we're going to be better friends, right? Cool, I love it. Who else has got one? Very nice and loud too. Okay.
I love to make Presidential Diamond by 2022 in a way that honors my desire to move people forward and connect with the right people.
You love goals.
I do.
Influencer executors need goals, or else what am I doing, right? Awesome. So brilliant. I love that you put a deadline on it. Brilliant. Relationship builders are like, you put a deadline.
I know. I was like,
But for you, it's like, right? All right. Cool. All right. Strengths DNA. Last part. All right. We're going to wrap up in 10 minutes. And just before we wrap up, I just want to say thank you all.
Thank you.
This is so much fun. I love talking about this, and I don't stop. There's something I wanted to offer you all here. We've got this convention thing going on, right? And I was thinking about convention, and I'm like, I just want to help people so badly. And when I think about the convention kits, I'm like, okay, the convention kits are amazing. Why wouldn't anybody take it? Well, sometimes people just don't quite see the value yet, right? And whether or not they can afford it is none of my business. But I know that if they saw the value, they would do it. So my thought is, well, what if I could add some extra value just to give someone a little extra oomph to make it tell them, hey, this thing is here. Now you can get the kit and get this too. So I do these strengths workshops. And I've got one coming up on September 22nd. Now, normally it's $50, $49 for the strengths workshop. What I want to do is to offer that workshop to you and anybody in your business for free, as long as they prove to you that they purchased the kit. If they purchased the convention kit and they told you, look, I bought it, I can give you a link, you can give it to them, and they can have that workshop. It's a 5-hour workshop for free. And it's like some of the things that I talked about, but we're going to go in way more depth in prospecting, inviting, closing, and mentoring. I want to teach people how to stop thinking that they have to tell people how to do things, instead of give people the power to figure out for themselves. So if you're all interested in that, I can give Natalie the link and stuff and share with you all. Does that sound cool?
yes.
Yeah? Okay. Sure. So it's 3 parts. Understand what's awesome about you, like we talked about today. Everyone agree? You're awesome? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the first part. The second part is how to apply it to Doterra when it comes to those 4 areas: prospecting, inviting, closing, and mentoring. So it's doing everything authentically, right? Does that sell it? Okay. All right. So we can talk about those details afterwards. So just basically, just get everyone to get those convention kits. You know, and then I'll just say here, I'll give you all 5 hours of awesome workshop stuff, and everyone will get the recording. If they can't make it live, of course, everyone always asks that. Okay, let's get to the last part. What's called the strengths DNA. Okay, now for those of you who don't have the strengths assessment, you've got to be dying to go take it now. But I'm going to give you one more thing to make it even harder not to. Okay, this is called the strengths DNA. DNA stands for dominant natural action. Okay, I'm an influencer. I need to see you moving. Please. So dominant natural action, it works like this. You take your top 10 strengths and you put them into a flow, an order, which is 1 through 10, and you articulate what those strengths are and how you're going to achieve this goal, right? So you have your 434? Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to use you as an example in just a moment, okay? Okay, I'm going to first demonstrate it, so you can hear how someone who's been doing it since January 1st, I made the decision that I was going to be authentic with everything. So I say this to myself every morning, okay? And it's like, the fact that I'm here is a result of me saying this every morning, okay? That I can be of value to someone as amazing as the daughters, who are amazing, yes?
Yes.
Yes. So, so if I could be of value to them, what I'm going to share with you is a testament to that, right? So, I wake up in the morning, and what I do is I say my strengths proclamation like I taught you, and then I read through in my head out loud my top 10 strengths in order, as if that's how I'm going to do my day, right? So, for example, let's say presidential diamond, right? So I can say, I love to hit presidential diamond in a way that honors my desire to move people forward and create and learn. So that's the first part of the proclamation. The DNA comes like this. By the way, before I do this, I got to tell you something. How many of you have all been on an interview, a job interview, and they ask that stupid question, tell me about yourself, right?
Top 10
What
minutes.
do I tell you? Like how many kids I have, where I was born? You're like, it's an awful question because we don't know how to answer it. But I do. My first thing out of my mouth would be what I say to myself every day. I love to do, well, my name is Eddie, and I love to do everything in a way that honors my desire to move people forward and think, create, and learn. How I do that best is I see multiple different ways of doing things, and I pick the best one. I get inspired ideas, and I want to call other people and have them move with me in a way that honors my vision of the future that inspires me into action. I make new friends along the way, and I charm the pants off of everybody I know because I'm fun to be around. I also trust myself, and I believe in myself, and I know that I can make mistakes and still come back from them. I also gather information to improve who I am from the inside out. I speak my heart, and I do it better than anybody because I do it my way. I lay out the steps by steps towards the things that I want to create for myself, and I put together all the pieces for maximum productivity. I also gather information for other people, and I make sure that we are hitting our benchmarks along the way in the way that is going to honor my desire to make a difference in the world. Those are my 13 strengths.
You're hired.
Do they need to know if I'm qualified or where I come from or how many kids I have? No, they know. Why? Why would they hire me?
Because you know who you are.
Because I know who I am. And it makes it obvious for them to go, yep, I need you. And you can all do that too. My strengths aren't special. They're just mine. And you've got yours. Remember, with your top 10, you're different than anybody on the planet. Feels good, doesn't it? Okay, you ready to try?
Okay, so tell me how I came up
Okay,
with the sentence for each one.
Yeah,
Just each one.
That's a whole other game. But let me explain how I do it. What I do is, and I can help you all do this, what I do is I take each of the strengths and I look at the short descriptions that Gallup gives you. I just use their words and I reformulate them my way to honor my domains. Because like I've got a couple of executing strengths that I don't care about getting things done the right way. I use those executing strengths to move people forward and think, create, and learn. So they're only productive in my ability to help other people move forward. So those executing strengths, because I only have 2 of them in my top 10, become influencing strategically thinking ones. Okay, is that cool? A little weird, a little out there, but okay. So what I did was I took these little sentences that Gallup put together and I just put them together in one long run-on sentence because, and by the way, there's no punctuation needed, no commas or quotes, right? The heart doesn't need, exclamation points or anything. It's just the words just pour out of you. And so what I'm going to challenge you all to do, what we're going to do with you in just a moment, is to formulate your own strengths DNA. Because when you say, I'm going to hit presidential diamond, you'll feel it right around the most important strength, which is your number 5th. Okay, do you want to try it?
Okay, yeah, I do.
All right, you got to stand up for this one though, because we need bodies. We need your whole body for this. Okay, so start off, so here's how you're going to do it. I love to achieve presidential diamond by December 2020? 22. In a way that honors my, and then what you do is you say, well, you know what, I'll help you. But what you're going to do is how I'm going to do that is, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, I'll remind you through it.
Okay,
Okay, go
so
ahead.
I love to hit presidential diamond by 2022 in a way that honors my desire to move people forward and connect with the right people. I work hard and possess a
Well,
great
so
deal of stamina.
how I'm going to do
How
that.
I'm going to do that is I work hard and possess a great deal of stamina. I accept others. I can make things happen by turning thoughts into action. I have contagious enthusiasm and am upbeat and excited. I have certain core values that are unchanging. I am inspired by the future and what could be, and I energize others with the vision of the future. And I have faith in the links among all things. There are no coincidences. I love the challenge of meeting new people and winning them over. I create alternative ways to proceed. And I focus on strengths as a way to stimulate personal and group excellence.
How's that feel? What was your name again?
Amy.
Amy, how's that feeling?
Great,
Why does it feel great?
because it's me.
Oh, I live for these moments. Yes, because it's me. And because it's me, it makes it true. That means I will. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, just have to remember every day, yes?
Yes.
Well done, Amy.
Yeah.
Thank you. Everybody,
Thank you.
round of applause for Amy. Okay, 5 minutes left. So, was this awesome? Yeah? You're so welcome. You're very welcome. So here's my challenge to you all. If you haven't yet, take the strengths assessment, answer the questions as honestly as you can, avoid the neutral answers. Okay, you're gonna have situations where they both seem the same, just trust your gut and pick one. Okay, you got 177 questions. You can kind of be off a little bit on some of them, it'll catch it. So the reason I say try to avoid the neutrals, because too many neutrals, they can't give you a result, okay? And then once you take the assessment, like everybody else here, formulate your strengths proclamation, right? I love to do everything. And then you formulate your own written strengths DNA. And then you just attach whatever you want into there. And you will know how to do it your way. And you'll believe it because it's you. And it's not you in the mirror going, oh, Eddie, you're amazing. People love you and they want to hear from you. Like you're not faking it. You're telling the truth. Does that make sense? I used to do that. Because that was one of the first things I learned. You just got to look in the mirror and you got to tell yourself you're awesome and people love you. Anybody try that? Oh my goodness. Here's how to lie to yourself. This is great. Starting off authenticity the right way. Okay. Thank you all so much. Have an awesome day. Go be who you are with everything.
Yeah.
Nothing better than being who you are. So I love how he shows up in that so that we see how that gives us all permission to do the same so powerfully. Thank you, thank you. Okay, we just have a couple of minutes and we are going to, so fun. We're gonna shift back downstairs for watch party tonight. We can have a few things up here, but there's also a team dinner. One team is having a dinner here later, so that's gonna get set up during the 6 to 8, 6 to 7:30, whatever it is, 6 to 7, right? We only have an hour left. You're gonna do this, right?